And we are live again. For whatever reason, I keep doing this. Not getting a lot of viewers, but a few people do seem to tune into it. I know I messed up my whole YouTube channel when I bailed out a few years back, but as I always mention, it is a protest against the censorship that we were seeing, and in many ways still are, but things are maybe a little bit better right now. So I've been trying to upload some content, just, I don't know, just to do it, I guess. Um, Got a pretty interesting, not great news, but a pretty interesting development that has occurred with my diet, which is not all negative. I actually learned a lot, but I'm going to wait for a few minutes to see if anybody shows up, and then I will tell you guys what happened. While we're waiting, actually have some good news. My travel trailer has sold that I had picked up as kind of a backup to the motorhome slash investment slash cool vehicle to have that I was going to pull behind the 49. But this guy showed up with this really cool vehicle, and it's like a flat black finish to it, big wheels, and it's a really cool looking combination. So I think he'll turn some heads with it for sure. Kind of lost a good bit of money on that, unfortunately, but you can't win them all. Basically, I purchased it at what I thought was a pretty good price at the time. It was at the time, but then the market shifted and dropped about 30%. Put some money into it to get the polishing job done. Basically, did it twice is the best way to put it. And the second time around, I'm still not 100% happy with it. It's very shiny, and by the way, it's got a layer of dust on it because it sat in the shop for a year since I had that done. But if you look, you will see some little micro swirls, especially on the top three panels. And basically what they did is they did a pretty good job on all the side panels, and it started getting late and he wanted to get done and get out of there and get his check. So he really shortcut on those upper panels, which I disclosed to the buyer. And, you know, in my opinion, it needs another day of work on it and it would be perfect. But it does actually look pretty dang good, and very reflective and all that sort of thing. So, but I'm super happy to say that is now gone, which has been this kind of 6 or 7 month process. I originally listed it and took it back down for a while, and then decided that I needed to go ahead and move it, listed it, got a whole bunch of hits on it, and unfortunately selected a potential buyer that I had a lot of faith in, a really nice lady that was in her retirement years, and unfortunately she didn't have her cabbage together at all. She was dreaming, I guess, more than anything. I don't shop for anything like this unless I got the money, or if I had to finance it, then if I've got the financing, I've got a blank check from the credit union. You know, that's how I did for years. Now I try not to buy anything if I can't do it cash. In either case, I'm not wasting your time or anyone else with, you know, a dream. It's not worth it. You know, those days are over when you're 23 or something, but not when you're retirement age like she was. She really pissed me off. But anyway, it actually worked out great because I was a little bit more willing to take a lower amount, and we had negotiated to a lower amount when that deal was occurring. And as it is, I actually got much better money out of it. Still a fantastic deal that this person got. And so that's just how it is. So just wanted to update a couple of things from the last video. First thing is 2 videos ago in my last carnivore update video, I mentioned that I thought maybe I was having testosterone issues, I mean, I'm at that age now, but I have this very big crash, late in the day, go to sleep for a while. Partially because I'm hurting. Sometimes because I take a painkiller and it kind of knocks me out. But in any case, I have this kind of afternoon crash. Have a few other symptoms going on with energy. Um, and I just thought, well, maybe I'm, brain fog. Maybe I'm low on it. So I went and got tested, and the doctor kind of ticked me off because he only pulled free testosterone. And when I did the math on it, it put me down right at the bottom of the scale, like 300 or whatever that low cutoff is. Like, oh yeah, you're in the normal range, which by the way drops a lot every few years compared to say 1970. They've been because they take the reference from everybody, okay, the average moves down. And so if you're at 300, you're kind of in trouble, like it's probably, you probably, even if it's in the normal range, you might want to look at doing something. So the first thing I did was, how can I naturally improve it? Exercise. I bought a home gym. I committed to increasing my muscle mass and increasing my core strength to also hopefully help my back. Supplements, magnesium, vitamin D, zinc. Those are the main ones I believe that I found were beneficial. But I was also upset at the lack of detail that I had just with the free. I wanted to know other things going on, hormonally speaking. Free testosterone, total testosterone, estrogen, all that stuff. So I went to a specialist that focuses on diet and wellness type things rather than a traditional doctor. They had better pricing, got the blood work done, came back quite different. Free testosterone was a lot higher, and I was at 750, which I'm pretty proud of at my age. So unfortunately, that meant that wasn't any kind of answer for how I was feeling. But I think the supplements maybe, I know my vitamin D and my vitamin C were on the kind of lower end. And also the vitamin D, the magnesium, the zinc all help with inflammation as well as fish oil. My cholesterol is high. Depends on which camp you're in as to whether that's a problem. So, but I decided that I would also, as a side of that high cholesterol, was another factor in the home gym. More muscle, more burning of the bad cholesterol and making of the better cholesterol, more muscle tone, more testosterone. Everything's better if you have more muscle mass. I committed to walking as much as I can, and waited and got the gym the day before we decided to leave. Well, we decided we were leaving. The day before we were scheduled to leave, the gym came. I did a couple of little workouts with it. Felt good, had no real issues other than my normal pains. But I was very easy on myself because I did not want to get that gym burn you get when you haven't been in a long time and you go do a workout and then you're stiff, for several days. And I wasn't sure how my body would react to it. But long story short, gym is cool. Walking was my only option while we were on our trip. So we get to the first campground, and it's big. And I said, I'm going to walk this whole campground. Not all at once, but I'm going to walk, for a bit. And each day I'm going to walk until I cover every road in this campground. Well, by day 3, I was in pretty severe back pain. I was starting to flare in my hips, and I didn't walk for a couple of days, other than walking the dog on a protesting, relatively short walk. We also like to do antique stores when we're out of town, and it severely limited my ability to enjoy that. And the entire trip just went downhill from there. But, there were a couple of days there where I said, all right, I feel a little better today. I'm going to walk. I went into a large antique mall, and I counted them, and it was 2,000 steps. That was it. This 10,000 steps a day. Whew, that'd be 5 large antique stores. If I go in 5 large antique malls on a trip, I'm down for the rest of the trip and until I get home and spend time recovering at home. And that would be like an everyday thing to reach 10,000 steps, 5 large antique malls. I did one large, one medium, and one small, and I was down for days. And by down, I mean I wasn't doing anything, but when I would walk somewhere, my hips were killing me, my back was bothering me, my ribs were hurting. Uh, so yeah, walking is definitely not an exercise that I am going to be able to engage in, at least under my current situation. And I don't think my hips are going to get any better because I think that I have inflamed hip joints, possibly even damaged hip joints. Although I can walk better sometimes than others, so maybe it's just the inflammation and there's not much damage. So if I could get the inflammation under control, great. Anyway, so we're on this trip. We had something I alluded to last time was some family drama, if you will. And I think that my cousin from that side of the family very likely is a subscriber to my channel. We haven't communicated in some time. We fall on quite different ends of the political spectrum, we could say. And to go a little further, he lives in Washington State, and otherwise known as the left coast, and I live in Dixie, down here in Northwest Florida. And just about everything that can be different is different. That said, I certainly have no problem with him. One of us may be completely wrong. One may be completely right. It could be a mix. We could, I don't know, both be on the wrong side of the deal. The deal being that we're the general population and what we're worried about picking for leadership is the other end. And, we're kind of getting the raw end of the deal on both sides. But the point is, I certainly don't have any problem. If he called me tonight, I'd talk to him, no problem. But I don't know how much of this I want to go into. Let's just say that I don't want to get too detailed. His remaining parental figure, I think, might be a little more concerned about politics than I am. And just guilt by proximity of being here, certain assumptions are made as to who I might have voted for in the election. And this is the only theory I can come up with, is that there's also a bit of a education difference, I guess we could say. I'm kind of the country bumpkin country hick, and they would be much more closely aligned with academia. They don't have the redneck southern accent that you might detect in my voice being here from lower Alabama. And so that kind of sets the stage. So the hurricane hit. It was quite a mess. Sure that a lot of you saw the videos and whatever. I am seriously going to try not to make this video stupidly long tonight, but I got to bring this up. So we got hit by a Cat 5 hurricane, Hurricane Michael 2018. I had a real bad bit of time. In fact, not just me, but a lot of people here did. And, this is one section of my brand new pole barn that I put up to park my motorhome under, that I bought 4 days before the hurricane. This is my yard 4 days after buying that motorhome. There's the new pole barn with its back broken. And under it is an RV that I literally brought home on Sunday before the Wednesday. And so that was, it's just one thing, but there's also a door blown in on my shop. And, my house got damaged pretty good. And just a lot of chaos. So I had about $45,000 worth of damage at my property that was uninsured. And my mom at the time, She was around then. She's no longer around. Her house was spared, but her yard was really wrecked. Her water lines were messed up. And she was in the hospital at the time of the hurricane. I'm trying to find some pictures of her property. It took me a while to get to her property. The damage was so bad that there was no way to even get out of here for a bit, and then no way to get to her property for a bit. Trying to find. I have a picture somewhere of her property. Anyway, her house was spared, but she had no water, no way to fix it for quite some time, nobody available to fix it. About 20 pine trees down all over her yard, which took a good bit of time. She was also in the hospital after a pretty bad fall. And when the hurricane hit, the hospital was severely damaged. They had to evacuate all patients to multiple states. There was no way for them to even track where people were at, so I lost track of her for a week. Very stressful, by the way, because of her situation being that she was in her late 80s. She was having mild dementia, or actually starting to kick in pretty good. She had the bad fall, broke her hip, went through all that, and then she fell again. Thankfully, she didn't hurt her hip again. But long story short, she could not stay by herself, and especially coming out of the hospital. I can't find the pictures of her house. Oh, here we go. I finally found it. Anyway, so this was her house, which did survive, but obviously the yard that's not it. That's the hospital, though. I don't know. That was the hospital she was in. Trying to find the other picture. Anyway, she could not come home. That's all I can tell you. Oh, there's a good picture right there. That's the neighbor, though. I gotta say, it's extremely.
It's really bad.
Stressful looking at this.
It is.
I'm not even gonna look at it anymore right now. Okay, so I set the stage. Cat 5 hurricane hits your city, destroys it. Half the rehab centers for elderly people gone. Resources for people to come in and help take care of her gone. And so I was finally able to locate her, and I was told that she needs to go from the hospital, that she was in another city, to a rehab center. They gave me 2 cities, Tampa, Melbourne. So the family member that is in question, which was a sibling of hers, lived in Melbourne. And I said, well, heck, thank God I've got something good going here. I can have her in Melbourne. I'll get to visit my family member, who I envied and liked at that time. And she can go and visit mom and keep her from going crazy, wondering why she's in this strange place. Well, the family member apparently had had some recent back surgery and accused me of putting my mother on purpose there to dump her over there so she could take care of her. And so I was disowned and told never to contact them again. All right, so here's where we are now. There's another sibling who happens to be one of my favorite members of the family on that side, and they are both amongst the very last of the old generation. They are the last 2 of the old generation. The only connection I really have. Well, he is obviously, being a sibling, also very old. And tried to go see him last year, and he got the flu right when we got down there. And we waited an extra week, so we were there for almost 3 weeks. And he got over the flu, and then his wife got the flu, and then he got the flu back, so I'm told. And so we had to leave without seeing him. I haven't seen him since pre-COVID. I'd like to see my family member. Well, anyway, we went back down on this trip, planning to go and visit him. I talked to him. He said, come on down, we'd love to see you. But I was told by his wife that she was asking me not to come and see him. She didn't want me to see him like that, and he wouldn't want me to see him like that. And anyway, I don't think there's any chance I'll ever see him again. So we shortened the trip because of that. Um, but I think that it also ties into politics more than anything else. I think it's like the same situation. East Coast, South Florida, it's very much matches that of the other end of the country. And I hate it that, you know, you're mad who's president right now and you blame me for it somehow, I guess. That's what it feels like. I'm sorry. I don't like to drag this out, but I've got to say it, you know. Um, Spent a lot of money to go down there last year and stay down in that area. And to have this happen after, you know, we were told to come in. I catch a hint, by the way, because I'm sure that these individuals will see this video, because I'm sure it'll be mentioned that I talked about this. But you know, I got the hint when I talked to you a few weeks back that I wasn't really wanted. But damn it, you know, I'm loyal to family. I wanted to come see my uncle, but anyway, it's not going to happen. So it is what it is. But I was hurting so much, and then that situation happened, and I said, let's just go home. So we were there the last day, and I had this visual migraine, which I mentioned on the last video. And then we tried to come home, but we only made it 2 hours. I was feeling like crap. So we stayed a couple of days there, and I had another visual migraine, and then we finally made it home. And I started thinking, you know, maybe these supplements are an issue. So I went cold turkey on all the supplements. And then just a couple of days ago, I started back on one vitamin D, one magnesium, one fish oil, one potassium. And I can't remember the exact day that was, but I have felt like shit, for lack of a better word. I've not felt well. Every day I've been under this cloud. And Sunday I went to the gym, and I forced myself to go because I was supposed to pick up an instrument that I had let somebody borrow, and they had messaged me and told me they were going to be there. They didn't show up. He did message me later and told me they didn't make it, but went to the gym. The gym was good. Had a good sized crowd, a lot of guitars, but we had a banjo and a mandolin. Another banjo showed up, so it was good jam, a lot of good singing, all that sort of thing. I did my best to play. I'm holding my guitar here when I was standing to take this photo. You can see the neck of the guitar, and I played it through an hour and 40 minutes, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I felt miserable. So I told Melissa, I called her, I said, something is off. I can tell something's not right. I'm having a racing heart. My chest is not feeling right. It's not changing with exertion, but I felt anxiety, and I knew something was off. So I got thinking back to when I was in the hospital. As I mentioned in the last video, I was in the hospital May of 2024, almost 2 years ago. When I started this diet, I made it further into the diet at that time. But I have been at that time I was kind of a hard swap from not very keto to it. This time I've been leading up to this for months. Low carb, really avoiding sugar almost as much as I can. A little bit here and there. And so I made it into this diet, about, I guess I'm about 5-6 days in, hard carnivore as of the time of that jam. And I decided, you know what, I'd already figured out about, the imbalance of electrolytes. I knew that could be a factor. And the problem I had there was, am I getting too much sodium? Because last time it was not enough. You can get too much, especially relative to magnesium and potassium and all those good things. So I wasn't really sure, but that's one of the reasons I started taking one magnesium and one potassium, just to kind of bring that up, because I was doing pretty good on the sodium with the salt. And the other two things I had, dehydration. No way I had dehydration this time. 6 bottles of water a day. I'm not dehydrated. Also, because I'm feeling good, I haven't been exerting. So that left blood sugar. So I stopped and bought a glucose meter, and I bought the little kit with the lancet and all that good stuff. And I did a test, and I was at 71 blood sugar. So I think it's 70 or 69. You're considered hypoglycemic, which means low. You're in the low. And then the margin of error on the meter is 10 or 12 to 15%. So it could be a little higher. It could be quite a bit, it could be lower. And if it was off by just 1%, 2%, I'd be well into hypoglycemia territory. The thing is, at that moment, I wasn't really feeling the shaky, the jittery, but the anxiety is kind of a lead into that. So I immediately had some fiber, which I had Ezekiel bread, 2 slices, some non-sugar whole grain Kirkland peanut butter, and 2 heaping teaspoons of strawberry jam. And I felt 15% improvement, maybe. So I felt like I was maybe on the right track. Then I decided to look into something I could eat that would have some fiber, that would have some carbs, that could be converted over while I slept, so I wouldn't wake up low. And I had like a dozen pecan halves. Woke up in the morning, definitely some improvement, but absolutely not better. I'd say 30% when I woke up. I could tell I was going to have a better day. So I decided for breakfast I'd have 2 more slices and just the strawberry jam. And then for lunch I think I supplemented with, I don't think I had pecans. I think I had some, what do you call it? The fried pig stuff. Dang it. I can't think of the name of it. Man. See, I'm not right now. I'm not 100%. I'm very foggy still. But I had those. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it. Pork rinds. Golly, man. See, it's been a rough run. It's been a long day. I did wake up very early this morning with severe sciatica on my left leg, and also a little bit of sciatica on my right leg. So I just got to the point where I laid around a bit. I had to get up I was awake at 4, laid in bed till about 6, and I've been on the run since then. One of which was I got to eat breakfast and go meet the guy to get the camper out of the way. So I went and did that this morning. Ended up having to do a little bit of work, airing the tires up to the right pressure. We had to move the wire that goes to the taillights a little bit shorter because his hitch and connector were different than my truck. Come back, we did an interview for work today. I had some other work to do, and then I was really tired, so I took a little nap, and here we are. So anyway, I decided that I want more sugar because I've been apparently on the low end of blood sugar now for the better part of a week, and in my research it's going to take me a few days to rebuild stores of the glucose, whatever it converts it to. All that's been depleted, possibly over the last couple of weeks. So we baked some really good cookies that are, like real whole ingredients and not using regular flour, but using whatever kind of flour. I can't remember what it's in there, but so I had 4 of those cookies today. Yes, I am destroying my carnivore diet, I guess you could say. But I'm 100% staying with my dairy-free carnivore diet, other than the sugars that I'm supplementing with. So I'm going to have these cookies for a couple of days. I'm going to eat 3 or 4 a day. I'm going to have some jelly with breakfast every day on a couple slices of Ezekiel bread. I want that fiber to offset both that and whatever the flour is in the cookies is also a really good unrefined fiber that will help kind of buffer the effects of the sugar. And then the sugars are not cane or anything like that. They're a couple of different types of sugars. I think one of them is coconut. There's another sugar type. Both of them are on the better end if you're going to have sugar. So I'm staying, like, I didn't go grab some Oreos or whatever. I got, we baked good quality stuff. So today I've felt better for a lot of the day, but I still feel this fog. Still heart rate, sometimes it'll race, other times it won't. Anxiety is gone. Um, my chest discomfort's gone. So I'm moving in the right direction. But I'm not really sure what to do about it because it seems like you could argue that my fat intake was too low, and I think that's probably the primary contributor. But I don't really want to spoon lard and eat spoonfuls of it like pudding. I don't particularly enjoy eating the fat in the steak, although it's quite tolerable in ribeye because of the way it's kind of dispersed. The meat tastes great. The fat is sometimes I enjoy it, and other times it's a nuisance. But I can't really figure out how to get enough fat in the diet. I don't know what the fat content is of eggs, but I could probably boost. Let's see what it says here. 5 grams per egg, so 40 grams of fat, and then how many grams of protein? $50 to $175. If you look at the ratio that needs to be there for carnivore and keto, really, protein, fat ratio. You should be having about twice as many fat grams as protein grams. And the minimum acceptable, just this quick reference, is 1 to 1. So look at the eggs. I mean, it's got to be supplemented. You can get something called protein poisoning, which I'm aware of. I haven't looked at the symptoms, but ammonia on the breath, onset of kidney failure. You don't want to do that. So you do have to be careful. Now the problem is the difference. I'm really annoyed. This is what makes me get off this diet. It's like I can't get enough fat. Now, if I were having cheese and butter, then I could hit that goal. But there's a big problem with that. I'm trying to avoid dairy right now. So I may have to derail my wonderful diet and maybe go to Whole30 for a bit. But I am really afraid of Whole30 because of the damn carbs and the ratio of that. The ratio of Whole30 it's fat, carbs, and protein, and they're all, I think, kind of close to balanced, if I remember right. It's an interesting diet in some ways. 40, 30, 30. But here's the real problem with it. Gotta put on my seers to see. I'm not sure which one's which, but protein, 1 to 2 pump size. Fill the rest of your plate with vegetables, fruit, healthy fats. Yeah, so here we go. Proteins, roughly 30%. Fat is the predominant, and carbs are 20 to 40%. Now, these are not refined grains. These are whole vegetables and fruits. Now, that's pretty cool. You can have any veggies you want, pretty much. I think there's certain limits on legumes and other things, but a variety of vegetables, a variety of meats, some occasional fruits, healthy fats. I'm trying to figure out where you're getting the 35 to 50% fat from. Healthy oils, nuts and seeds, but then, right below, it's like, oh, have oils and ghee and avocado, but, not like a whole lot. So I just don't think I want to eat like all fats from avocados. And nor do I want a plate of ghee or a plate of oil. I want to have, bacon fat. So I'm gonna have to. I have no choice. I have to step back. I'm just not hitting the ratios, and if I have dairy, which I don't know if they allow dairy, I don't think I want dairy right now, because I'm trying to see if I can get to a point where I don't flare, because dairy is the only thing I haven't completely eliminated other than beef. But a couple of doctors recommended this to me. They happen to know each other, so they might be on the same wavelength. Forbidden dairy, you must avoid the following. So, yeah, all cheeses, yogurts, milks, butter, everything to be avoided for 30 days. I'm trying to do that. Now, I think the cookies that I'm eating right now probably have butter in them, because I know we surely didn't put any other kind of oils in there. So, I may have already hit reset on the butter thing. And again, the reason I'm trying to quit the butter is I'm trying to quit all dairy to see if it's causing me to flare. And, here they're saying 30 days to flush out of your system. I was only going to do it for like 2 weeks, and I'm a week into it now. But now that's destroyed, unfortunately. But the blood sugar thing, man, no, can't do it. Can't do it. Not going to do low blood sugar. It sucks. So you can't have ghee or clarified butter for whatever reason. I guess they removed the milk products or whatever. So that's where I'm at. Unfortunately, I'm in a corner. My real temptation to do is to just go hog wild, in retaliation, and go and enjoy some food that I like. And I don't mean go to restaurants, really. I mean I'm going to make myself an occasional einkorn flour pizza with all whole ingredients. I'm going to have spaghetti on whatever, not traditional pasta noodles, but one of the keto pasta noodles. But spaghetti sauce, Parmesan cheese, and pepperoni or whatever, all the good stuff. I'm very tempted to go back to that, because when I do, whatever it is that I'm missing right now, I get back and I don't feel like this. My weight, I made it down to the 190. That's what I got down to. I wanted to get in the 180s, but there's no way now that I've added sugar back in my diet that it's going to do anything but go back up from retained water, from a little bit of fat buildup probably from it. I'm really let down. I'm disappointed. And I just don't feel great on top of that. So it's like a bad combination, I'm just like, I could go to the Waffle House in the morning and just pig out. I could do better than Waffle House and go to the place on the beach that actually has a little bit better quality ingredients. It'd be so easy to do that and just make myself happy. But then I'll be going back down the trail to a flare. So I'm going to stick with it, but I definitely need to figure out, do I bring dairy back in? I can immediately get the fat that I need and get my body a lot happier, but risk going into a big flare if it is dairy that's causing it. Not sure what to do. So that's my story. I'll probably keep uploading these for a bit. I'm sure somebody out there has a similar journey that they're on or going to be on, and I know these videos are just rambling. Not my favorite series of videos I've done. But hopefully it'll help somebody, or it'll help me. I can go back and look at this and go, okay, yeah, that's what I was dealing with last time. Okay, well, I am out of here. I will hopefully update you guys soon. See you later.